Hey, we're back for one last episode, actually, 3 of Andor Season 2. Let's go. So, if you haven't seen Andor Season 2 yet, go ahead, go watch it, come back, because we're going to break this down. Now, we're talking about episode 10, 11, 12. The final 3, the final movie, so shall we say, of Andor. And really, these episodes have been a movie the way they've been releasing. All 3 of these episodes have been absolutely, uh, combined together and then just working. There's I think the first set of 3 was quick, wanted you to keep on watching, keep inviting you in. The second set of 3, little slow. Last week's set of 3, again, a little bit of slow, but it picked up very quick. This week, I don't know about you, but I watched it like a movie. One episode to the next, to the next. It just drawled me through the entire set. So, let's break down and go into it a little bit. Episode 10, Make It Stop. Uh, this is a very interesting episode. The shift of characters, where the overarching series is all about Andor and everything that is Andor. This is not. This has shifted to Lonnie, Deidre, and Luthen, where Lonnie and Deidre have been small characters all along. They have been not, I don't wanna say barely in it, but characters that you're not focused on because you know they can't be there at the end. You know, they're characters that aren't directly connected to characters that we know survive and continue into the movie Rogue One. It is these characters that were, dare I say it, probably the most important 2 characters to get us to Rogue One. It is really interesting how you come out of left field and have a character that you're like, "Okay, this is just an Imperial pencil pusher," and then an Imperial kind of detective, uh, and those 2 are the linchpins. Now, Lonnie sends up a smoke signal, so to say, calls a meeting, gets Luthen to show up, and there's something wrong. He's out. He's been spying this entire time. He's come across something that, you know, you gotta just I gotta give you the information and run. And the fact that I have this information, I know that I'm under the gun and that I'm going to be taken out soon. How right he is, but by the wrong people. Lonnie essentially gives the information to Luthen that is gonna unlock the information about the Death Star. What we know as the Death Star. They just think that a super weapon, linking all of the things, Gorman, Jedha, everything that's going on in the Empire right now, everything that Luthen has been investigating, spying on, the little trickle information that he's been gathering has is actually pointing to him. But he didn't know what it all how he had the pieces to a billion-piece puzzle, but couldn't find a way to connect them together. Lonnie is that piece. Lonnie is the one that finds the smoking gun, that finds what's going to connect everything. Uh, and it's actually all because of Deidre. And Deidre is about to be under the gun as well, because Deidre has emails. It's art imitation life here. Emails that she shouldn't have and shouldn't have kept. And Lonnie has gotten her codes and has been able to track her, track everything she's been investigating, and track those emails and find out what it really is all about. Uh, I guess the tale of the tape here is if you're going to be a fascist evil empire, don't have records of it because those records can be put together as tiny and little minuscule facts, but still at least showing that your actions over here are not actually what you've been saying they are, and that they're not going towards what everybody thinks it is, but it's going to something else. So you're looking at a massive email problem, which is hilarious to think about. All of Star Wars happens because an Imperial investigator keeps emails. Just funny to me. Uh, so Lonnie passes the information. This sets off the episodes into a race. Luthen now has the smoking gun. Luthen has the information. He needs to get this out. He needs to get it to the greater rebellion. Uh, he basically turns around and says to Clea, "We need to get out. We need to get off the planet now. We need to get this information to other people. We need to, this is what we've been working towards." And he tells her all the information, makes her memorize this information so she can pass it along. It's kind of telling when she's like, I'll be faster. I'll be able to take care of the shop." And he's like, "No, it's going to be me." So it's kind of a red flag right there. You knew he wasn't making it out. You didn't know how it was going to go down, but you knew he wasn't going to make it out. You knew he was going to make a sacrifice. So Deidre has been hot on his trail, trying to find this ring of rebels. And Deidre has finally put it together. She shows up at the shop amidst Luthen destroying the link to all of their rebel communications, but also the link to all their little eavesdropping devices. And this link definitely is the smoking gun. He's the head of this rebel unit, and she confronts him in this kind of sleight of hand while he's playing the part still as an antiquities dealer, and she knows what's going on. She's playing the game as well. She's trying to get him to essentially confess. That doesn't happen, but it does end with Luthen picking up the old dagger and saying, "Look at this," which gets the dagger in his hand so that at the opportune moment, he can take himself. Luthen clearly is going to sacrifice himself so that the rebellion can continue, that the information that he got is thought to be ended there, but he knows that it's not there, that he sent Leia away. Deidre ends up gets him to the hospital, and at the hospital, Deidre's under the smoking gun because ISB is investigating into her. She's taken action without authorization. She's gone after this rebel cell without proper paperwork and without anyone else knowing about. I think she wasn't 100% sure, and I think every time that she got close, something happened that she wasn't able to actually go through with it. Whether there's higher ups that are saying, "Nope, you can't do this," and protecting it because they knew she was on the trail, or it's just the greater machine of the Empire, and she's playing a part that she doesn't really understand and doesn't know. She's over her head and in the deep end. This is something bigger and greater, and the Empire is playing a whole 'nother thing. The Empire is, uh, carefully watching everything and carefully trying to keep secret this operation that they've been doing. And she has emails that have been leaked communication. You throw on top of that Lonnie's body is just found in the park and he's shot and he's dead. And they kind of all put together information and say, "Oh, well, Lonnie had the codes to Deidre, and this is how he's a spy, and she's leaked the information." So this sets up Clea to have to go to action. She doesn't leave the planet. She in turn has to either get Luthen out or take care of Luthen. All of a sudden, it seems like the rebellion is very much in this panic state of if somebody's compromised, kill them. If somebody's passed information, get rid of them because now we don't need these little traces and we don't need somebody that's going to get arrested and then tortured and give up all the information or at least give up a breadcrumb trail that's going to eventually land them back to where the rebels have landed. One of the parts of the conversation with Deidre and Luthen was that Luthen says the rebellion has flown away. I think that is very telling that he may have felt that he is the major part of the rebellion and that the rebellion was still on Coruscant and was still organized out of Coruscant before, and now it's gone. It's left Coruscant, It's gone someone else. And, of course, we did see that last week. You saw you didn't see Organa leaving, but you saw Mama leaving, and you saw Belgrana as part of that plan. So he knows what's up, she knows what's and they're all getting out of Coruscant. They're all getting to where this rebellion is going to be concentrated. You still have cells all over the place, but it's no longer a political rebellion that's going on. This is turning into an actual action rebellion. And you see that when we get shots of, yeah, it's gone from a ragtag bunch to they're now working on X-Wings. You got soldiers marching in formation, doing drills. You have them being all checked when they come in. Like, they have to give up all their weapons. They have to be investigated, checked upon, and that is what a well-oiled army is creating. It's creating this bigger rebellion, a rebellion that could actually fight against Empire, and I think Luthen knows that. I think Luthen knows his cards are up. His turn has come to play and lay down his card. And Luthen, while laying in the bed, being kept alive by all the machinery, is the last link to where this rebellion has flown away to. And honestly, the last thing that would save Deidre. So Clea, we start getting these flashbacks of Luthen and Clea when she was younger. Basically, Luthen raising Clea, taking care of her, and growing her up into the rebellion, and growing her up into a spy, working on all the spycraft, working on these little missions where they blow up things here and there, but teaching her when and where they need to take action, and also teaching her to be 100% in and not just full of rage and wanting to kill the soldiers right now, which would end up getting her killed and then the rebellion's over. Playing the long game. It's definitely what she was taught. You get a couple of scenes of her very sneakily figuring out her way into the hospital, getting hospital clothes, working through how I can get around the Imperial blockades within the hospital, working on a little spy plot of passing people without them realizing it, you know, taking care of a person in a wheelchair, moving them to here, going, "Oh, well, glad to go back around." Like, testing and probing the security around Luthen. You finally get this scene where they blow up, uh, transports, we'll call them, that are on a bridge, and this is the flip side where she's pulling the trigger and blowing up transports to be a distraction for her to finally break into the level that Luthen is on, and that the stormtroopers or the Imperial soldiers, because they're not full stormtrooper gear, are on. She's she's just setting it up, but the flip side and mirroring of these 2 events one for the past and one for the current, is beautifully done. It's excellent storytelling. Uh, then she goes through and she's a complete soldier, taking out guards left and right, playing it up as they're running and she's acting scared, get through, and then get to the next guy that's the single soldier that's like, "Hey, you shouldn't be here." Take him out, on to the next one. Finally, when she gets to Luthen, we have a bittersweet scene where she almost is saying to her goodbyes. It definitely is an emotional scene, and you can see it through the acting, where she doesn't really wanna disconnect him, but she knows there's no way else of getting him out, and knows somehow that he wouldn't make it, that she couldn't get him out of there. His wounds are too fatal, and she starts disconnecting all the machinery and kinda gives him that one last goodbye before she makes it out. Now everything speeds up. She gets back to the safe house, which the safe house looks in pretty bad shape. Another sign that the rebellion is getting out of town, kinda destroy all the information in there and get out of here. This leads us in to the next episode, episode 11. Who else knows where they are ripping into Deidre and trying to find out who else knows. And ISB ISB is putting out a basically capture on site, but they're using it as a plague, some disease that the individual that they are flashing up, I don't think they know her name. I don't think they know that it's Clea, but they have her picture, and they get that through working with a computer technician that's supposed to be monitoring the cameras. They get that picture, they post it everywhere, and it's like, "Find her." So ISB is hunting her down while at the same time putting the screw to Deidre to find out what she knows. You have a lot of ISB agents that seem like they're under the gun. Like, this was a big screw up, and now it's all coming to head. All at the same time that Clea sent out an SOS through one last communication device that they had buried in the wall. They're just pulling out communication devices all over the place. Just so happens that the other communication device was on Yavin so that the communication would get to Cassian. Now we send Cassian into action, and Cassian has to get Coruscant, albeit he's doing it without permission as well. Who Cassian looks like he's finally settled in and is finally kinda happy and kind of feels like he's a part of something, but he's ripped back into this spy world. So Cassian has to go back and save her. Now, this episode felt really short, and it also feels indistinguishable. It's hard to tell exactly where the first episode ends and the second episode begins. And then even still yet, it's hard to tell where the second episode, episode 11, ends, and the 3rd episode begins because you get Cassian finally showing up there, taking out ISB agents, albeit we have K2SO that takes out the majority and basically is the savior of the crew, taking out ISB agents like he's Superman and just flicking them away. Uh, but the entire episode is this kind of, "We gotta get there. We gotta get this information. We gotta get out. We gotta save her." There's this roadblock, jammers, you can't get communication. What's happening? You get some great scenes for K2SO that stretches his leg, end up doing things, and end up kind of, tripping some alarms that the overarching ISB that has been monitoring the situation is like, "Well, how are we jammed now?" But they're able to go in, get the information, and get out. This also leads right into episode 12, the final episode to the show, which is the mantra that had to be remembered. Jedha, Kyber, Urso. These are the 3 keys to what's going on. This weapon that is gonna change everything. So Cassian finally gets out with Clea and the rest of the crew, of course, back to Yavin, and he doesn't get, like, a warm welcome this time. He's not the hero landing. He's really questioned, and he's like, "Why are you back? And how did you just go in there, and why did you bring her? What's going on? Where is where is who we thought you were going to get?" They thought he was going to save Luthen, but Luthen is dead. We have a shot of the rebel council here, and when Luthen's name is mentioned, everyone kind of feels like something has happened in the last year and something is wrong. One thing I forgot to say is in the very beginning, episode 10, we get a 1 year later and a 1 BBY. So this is the year before the Battle of Yavin, year before the start of Star Wars as we know it. With that, that year seems that there have been a lot of ties that have been cut between Luthen and the rest of the rebellion. And maybe he knows that, and that's why we get him saying, "The rebellion has flew away." Maybe things have gone down that the rebellion is done with the spycraft and is really ready to start an actual war. You kind of get the sense and feel of that. We get a shot of the council talking to Saul Guerrero, where they're telling them, "Hey, a Death not Death Star, a Star Destroyer has parked itself above you. Uh, there's a problem. Don't the way you're going at this is going to alert them to the greater rebellion, and it's gonna have bigger implications and problems for us." I don't think they realize as much as problems they're about to have because Jeddah is the linchpin for everything. Jeddah is where they get kyber crystals for the massive weapon that is the Star. So this phrase that's been memorized and passed along and told to them of Jedha, Kyber, Urso is everything that sets it's the key that unlocks the information that the rebellion needs to find out what the Empire's has been doing. They know that things are connected, things are being collected from Gorman, from Jeddah, from other places that have been made in other places as well. You have a callback in this episode to the last season and the prison planet and the prison that Cass was in, not alone and his buddy that survived and now is part of the rebellion, but also in the fact at the end of this, we see Deidre sent off to that prison. Deidre ends up getting kept alive instead of killed, and she's sent into that prison. Maybe she'll be making parts for a Death Star or something else. Maybe she'll survive the whole thing and she gets free at the end. We'll see. I doubt that we'll get any more out of Deidre because, like I said already, her character really wasn't that important and isn't said anything about afterwards. So you knew that it was a throwaway character. Pretty much most of the ISB is also a throwaway character because you even get to see the head of the ISB taking himself out of the picture because he knows what's about to happen. He knows that he failed and that he's under investigation and he messed up. They got off the planet, and this is the big leak, and this needs to be taken care of. This last little breadcrumb is going to allow the rebellion to figure it all out and set all everything off, which eventually gets us to the scene of Lega putting the information into R2D2 and saying, Obi-Wan Kenobi, you're my only hope. Everything kind of races to that point. We don't get to see that here. That's going to be in Rogue One. But we get the scenes of the rebellion trying to grasp what's going on with this information. They don't trust Cass. He just went rogue and came back. They were not trusting Luthen. So do they really trust Clea? I think that they're giving Clea space because Luthen has passed and she's probably mentally messed up. So they go to Cass and they gently probe him to find out whether it's real. Organa goes to her cousin and says, "Hey, go tell me whether this is true or not." Because Cass's emotions and feelings when it comes to Luthen and the Greater Rebellion doesn't have anything to do with Luthen. But definitely Cass is a wild card. So the rebellion is very mm, laissez-faire, let's say, when it comes to that information. Doesn't believe it, doesn't understand it. It isn't until we get a later scene that Mama's cousin is drinking with him and goes, "Yep, this is for real." and we get a great scene of Le Clea kinda wandering around in a daze and being assisted by her, Mama Fuscus as well. All of that done kind of in, like, a night, and then all of a sudden, Cass is given the green light. He's told, "Go to the commander, he has your mission," and we see his ship flying. He's being sent to his connection that is going to give him the information in Rogue One. So very little time. Not exactly the scene that we thought we were going to get. We thought we'd get kind of like all all of the scenes from Rogue One that would absolutely connect like that mirror image or not mirror image, but like the scene starts here, but we're gonna get it. The ending of the scene is the beginning of that scene. We don't really get that, but we get to see the start of people going and sent out on that mission. That I feel like it was built to be like Rogue One, where Rogue One is the hallway scene. The end of Rogue One is the hallway scene where Darth Vader is just tearing through the rebel soldiers. Thought we'd get something a little bit more like that, where like we see Cass on planet making his way to his content. Not necessarily disappointed, but different than what I imagined from what they were billing it up to be. Now, has this season been good? I think so. I think it's definitely been better paced than the last season. It definitely has a lot more nuance than the last season, and I think it benefited from releasing 3 episodes at a time. Those 3 episodes can make a movie in each section. Each year becomes its own movie and a snapshot of what's going on in that year, which is the greater point to moving the story further along. So I think they did a good job there. A lot of people are saying this is the best Star Wars that we've ever got. I don't think so. I think it's okay. I think it's really good. I don't think it was the best Star Wars we ever got. I think it's a different Star Wars than we're used to because this is a little bit more spycraft. This is a little bit more not Jedi. It has nothing to do with the Jedi the entire time. Even though we had one scene that really talks about kind of the Jedi faith. If you really, really squint hard and listen close, you get that kind of the Force religion aspect. But other than that, this is a space western, mm, space spy thriller? You tell me what you think. Put it down in the comments below. And of course, if you haven't liked, comment, and subscribe, do that. We'd love to hear from you. You can tell me that I'm stupid and don't know what I'm talking about, or you can tell me I agree with you. I feel the same. Good show, not the best. I think we still have best yet to come. Drop it in the comments. We'd love to interact with you more. Hey, May's not over yet, but may the 4th be with you. And remember, all geeks are welcome at the table. So pull that chair up and join the conversation.